Injectable peptides are currently flooding the internet and social media as a theoretical shortcut to massive muscle growth. Listen to the online fitness communities, and you would assume you can jab yourself with 5 research chemicals and wake up looking like a superhero. But behind the aggressive marketing, these compounds exist in a clinical gray area. The people injecting them are chasing extreme, stage-ready physiques, aiming to push their bodies far past what standard diet and exercise can achieve. Injecting these compounds hijacks your internal endocrine circuitry, forcing the body to manufacture its own growth signals on command. To see what actually happens when you inject these compounds, we have to look past the sales pitches and examine the specific human endocrinology they manipulate. The entire process starts at the base of your brain, inside the pituitary gland. You can think of this tiny gland as the DJ at a biological party, putting out rhythmic pulses of growth hormone. Every time the pituitary releases one of these growth hormone pulses, it travels down to the liver. This prompts the liver to manufacture and release a secondary hormone called IGF-1. IGF-1, or insulin-like growth factor 1, is the active agent that travels through your bloodstream to repair damaged tissue, expand muscle fibers, and increase your overall physical strength. In your 20s, the brain's DJ is highly active, sending strong, frequent pulses all night. But with every decade after 30, the pituitary gets tired. The pulses grow weaker, less frequent, and eventually fade. The most popular muscle-building peptides are designed to address this exact decline. They serve to walk directly into the DJ booth, wake the pituitary back up, and force the party to restart. The compounds restarting this process belong to a category called growth hormone-releasing hormones, or GHRH. They act as the initial signal starters. Sermorelin acts like a sparkler, creating a quick growth hormone pulse that enzyme DPP4 rapidly breaks down. Altering it into CJC1295 resists this enzyme, extending the pulse to 30 minutes. Adding a drug affinity complex creates a continuous week-long release, eliminating natural pulsing entirely. Then there is Tesamorelin, which uses the full 44 amino acid sequence modified with a fatty acid. The FDA originally approved this specific peptide to burn off visceral fat in HIV patients suffering from medication-induced fat buildup. Selecting a signal starter requires a strict biological trade-off. Users must choose between maintaining a mild natural pulse or forcing a heavy, continuous chemical intervention. To get the massive results advertised online, users combine those starters with a second category of chemicals called growth hormone-releasing peptides, with Ipamorelin being the most popular. If the first peptide group wakes up the pituitary, Ipamorelin acts as the biological hype man. It instructs the gland to massively turn up the volume, rapidly increasing the sheer amplitude of each growth hormone pulse. This is a peptide stack. Combining a signal starter like CJC1295 with a signal booster like Ipamorelin attacks the pituitary gland from 2 separate mechanisms. Increasing pulse frequency while jacking up amplitude creates a biological multiplier effect, yielding a massive surge of growth hormone. Bodybuilders heavily favor Ipamorelin for this job because it amplifies the signal cleanly. Unlike other peptides in its class, it manages to boost growth hormone without inadvertently spiking stress hormones like cortisol or prolactin. Stacking these peptides creates a powerful multiplier effect by manipulating the body's signaling loops from 2 distinct biological angles simultaneously. But there is a ceiling to what the pituitary gland can produce. To get past that limit, users turn to high-risk compounds that abandon the natural brain-to-liver pathway entirely. One of these is IGF-1 LR3. Originally designed for laboratory research because natural IGF-1 degrades too quickly to study, this peptide is a synthetic, highly stable version of the liver's actual muscle-building hormone. By injecting this synthetic version, users skip the pituitary gland, the liver, and all the body's internal checks and balances, delivering a potent growth signal directly to the muscle tissue. Then there is Follistatin. Your body naturally produces a protein called myostatin, which places a hard limit on how large your muscles can grow. Follistatin acts by chemically cutting the brakes on myostatin, allowing the muscle fibers to expand without restriction. However, there is a massive clinical caveat. Erasing the myostatin limit produces rapid, visually dramatic muscle inflation. But those oversized muscles do not reliably translate into actual, functional strength gains. Utilizing these specific chemicals crosses a dangerous biological line. It shifts the process from simply amplifying a natural signal to a total system override, introducing deeply unpredictable variables into the body. The consequences of that override are where the online marketing falls silent. For most of these advanced compounds, long-term human safety data simply does not exist. While older signal starters like Sermorelin and Tesamorelin have years of documented clinical trials and regulatory oversight behind them, the more aggressive tissue builders are strictly unregulated research chemicals. The human data we do have shows clear costs. Forcing these pathways to remain open constantly can trigger severe water retention, stiff and painful joints, and a documented rise in insulin resistance. And there is a hard medical line. If you have an active cancer or tumor, or you are very prone to them, please do not stimulate your growth hormone pathways, full stop. Injectable peptides are highly effective biological tools, manipulating our internal chemistry with mathematical precision. But when you choose to forcefully override your own biological limits, you absorb the entirety of that experimental risk yourself.